A land grab is in the works in the El Dorado Valley, which lies between the cities of Henderson and Boulder City.
The Henderson City Council voted earlier this month to annex more than 2,700 acres. It's mostly vacant land in the El Dorado Valley. An ambitious development is expected. But there's one issue Henderson officials didn't even mention during their deliberations: asbestos. George Knapp, the I-Team, is here with a follow-up report.
It sort of fell between the cracks, kind of an oops moment for them out there. The Henderson City Council members were unanimous in going after the El Dorado Valley. They want to build homes, businesses, and schools out there on the playa, but they conspicuously avoided any mention whatsoever of the A word. They're not the first government entity in Nevada to hope the asbestos issue would vanish merely by ignoring it. If the annexation plan goes through, will Henderson let its residents know they'd be building homes in the middle of asbestos fields?
It looks positive. I would, again, you can't prove it till you get it in the lab.
The discovery of a single piece of suspected asbestos on Adams Boulevard in Boulder City isn't all that alarming by itself, given that the same street has a long stretch of open dirt that's chock full of asbestos fibers right across the street from a neighborhood, and a field filled with asbestos soil and rocks right in the front yard of Martha King Elementary School, which is traversed daily by dozens of kids and adults. Buck and her colleague, Dr. Rod Metcalf, confirmed their discovery of natural asbestos deposits almost 3 years ago, but the school district has shown little interest, in part because state health officials hundreds of miles away in Carson City decreed that natural asbestos is no threat to public health. For 3 years, state health officials and the school district declined to meet with Buck and Metcalf to talk about their findings. Instead, the state tried to shut down their study and stop the team from making the results public.
And they didn't want anybody else to see the data. They didn't let us use it. We had to go get it from the CDC.
Just as state health and the school district have downplayed the risks from natural asbestos, the Henderson City Council didn't mention it at all when voting to annex the El Dorado Valley so neighborhoods can be built there. But other agencies take it very seriously. NDOT, the state transportation agency, conducted its own asbestos study and found that NOA, naturally occurring asbestos, is not only present in the soil and rock, but also in the air, in the area where the I-11 bypass is being built. An NDOT study confirmed the construction project could put more asbestos fibers into the air, potentially exposing highway workers and nearby residents. Clark County Air Quality, which has more experience dealing with dust than any agency in Nevada, knows that winds often blow from Boulder City into the Las Vegas Valley. Asbestos fibers are tiny enough to stay aloft for days. Air Quality met with the UNLV team and then posted advice for the public on how to minimize the risk.
The state of Nevada health folks have said there is no risk at all from this, none. You guys have taken sort of a different approach that, well, maybe there is no need to panic, but maybe there is, and people should be cautious, right?
Correct.
On its website, Air Quality advises locals to take precautions that limit exposure to dust, especially when the wind is blowing. Doctors Buck and Metcalf say their research has also been confirmed by the federal EPA, which analyzed rock samples from the elementary school and 5 other locations. EPA's findings are a stark contrast to the agencies which want the asbestos issue to vanish. EPA's report declared, quote, "The concentration of fibers in the samples are high enough to raise considerable concern for local populations."
So you can see the granite, and it's got green.
There's another larger reason for concern regarding Brenda Buck's discovery of a single suspicious rock in landscaping material at a public park in Boulder City. How did it get there?
Yeah, and who was hired to put it in and dug it up to begin with? Those people would have been exposed too.
The reason that one little rock should be of interest to the general public is that it most likely came from gravel and soil pits that have operated for decades in the El Dorado Valley, the same valley targeted for development by Henderson officials. Rock and soil from that valley have been spread all over southern Nevada for years, sold in local gardening supply outlets. The I-Team conducted its own sampling and testing operation, and tonight at 6 o'clock we'll tell you what conclusions were reached by the testing lab. We have some additional information on our website, links to the Clark County Air Quality with some advice on how to limit your exposure.
Okay, we'll see you at 6.
Sure.
Thanks, George.